A lot of people believe that Calvin Coolidge would have been responsible for the Great Depression. What are your thoughts on that? What do you believe, that he brought it around, or?
No, you're saying that because of the overheating,
right,
and no regulation or very little regulation?
Right.
A number of points. One, depressions were cyclical, continue to be cyclical. They came about every 10 years or so. And the question was not whether they would come or not, but what do you do to get out of them? And in 1920, Harding gets us out, Coolidge gets us out, and 1930, we don't get out because of Herbert Hoover. I've read some interesting studies lately about Hoover talking about harping on speculation, which fueled the sales off in 1929. Whether it's a depression or not, or a Great Depression, whether it would have come back, unemployment had receded to 6% in June of 1930. Then they raised the tariffs, the smooth-hawley. Coolidge was opposed to that. They said, well, we can adjust it later. He said, that's the worst thing you can do. Creating uncertainty in the economy is the worst thing you can do. Don't do it.
Which is what we're doing now. The reason
right.
why people are not spending their money is because, does anybody here in the audience think we're past the worst of it? Yeah, okay. If you're running a business, are you thinking now's a great time to expand? No. Why? Because you know that, A, we're not past the worst of it, and why aren't we past the worst of it? Because you're not sure what the government is going to do next.
Right.
And so they could change all the rules on us.
And one of the things that we used to mock was the phrase normalcy, which is a Harding phrase. You want it, what was that? That was so boring. But now we have a new appreciation of it. He said, I don't want too much change so that we can recover from the wartime first and then the recession that they had. And Coolidge, too, believed in steadying the boat, continuity. He didn't fire the entire cabinet of Harding, even though Harding had been mired in scandal. He wanted, insofar as possible, to have continuity and little change so the economy could recover.
This is
There's also a question of, is the federal government responsible for the stock market? Is it responsible? And some people that say that's the state of New York, and that's Franklin Roosevelt.
Okay, here's what I think America, I didn't understand 2-3 years ago. When David said that depressions were cyclical, they were. They would, it's the creative process. It comes up, it crashes, and it comes up, and it crashes, and it comes up, and it crashes. And we were having them about every 10 years, and we had them for every 10 years, all the way along. As the economy started to grow, and as we were becoming more and more interdependent, it would happen because people would invent something new, and it would totally transform everything, and it would crash. That's why the Fed was introduced. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, because the argument to the American people, how they got it passed, was they said, you know, all these depressions, they got to end. And we'll be able to control it. We'll be able to make sure that the economy doesn't overheat, it doesn't get out of control, et cetera, so you won't have these crashes anymore. Well, we've had them about every 10 years. I contend that we've made things worse by having the controls set in.